Welcome to the American College Student Summer version. We moved this class to the summer because we thought that it would be more beneficial for you all to take research in the spring than research in the summer. So in this video, I'm going to go over the syllabus and kind of the objectives of the course and how we're gonna view this course while we're doing it. So the first thing is our theoretical framework. This course is going to be framed around engagement. How do we get students engaged? How do we help facilitate our conversations and help get these students connected to campus? And anytime we have a theoretical framework, we have theories that we need to use. Well, we're going to be using Aston's input environment output model, and we're also going to be using his student involvement model. Both of these we've talked about in student developmental theory class, but I'm going to review them in the next video to help you. And we're going to be using these when we're reading, when we're talking with students, and asking ourselves, okay, when I think about Aston's IEO model and I think about his student involvement model, how does this student subculture fit into these models? So kind of look through everything through this lens. And then the other one is Tinto and his theory of student departure. What impact does these subcultures have on students' retention, progression, and graduation? So with that being said, our course objectives include understanding the historical and contemporary college students. So who were they versus who they are now? And then also looking at some of the literature related to college students. We're going to review retention, progression, and graduation, specifically as it relates to Aston's IEO model. We're going to identify student subcultures, and we're going to apply student development theory. So I hope you all kept your student developmental theories books because we're going to be using those, or you're going to be using those for your final paper. So I want to review the syllabus, and the first thing I want to talk about is summer classes. Summer classes are a double-edged sword, because on one hand they're 7 weeks long, so that means I have to put 15 weeks into 7 weeks. So that means we're going to be moving quick, we're going to be moving fast, we're going to have a lot of information. Then the other factor is that it's an online class. So for some of you this is going to be twice as challenging because it's a summer online class. So everything that you do, you're going to be on your own to make sure that you're doing it. If you fall behind, you're going to have to get caught up, and that's going to be very, very important. Here are my office hours. Monday and Wednesday from 11 to 2, Tuesday, Thursday from 1 to 4. I'll be available online and via appointment. I can also meet via GoToMeeting or Skype. Whatever you need to be successful in this class, I'm here for you. There are 2 required textbooks for this course. The first one is Student Engagement in Higher Education, and this is going to be the primary text that we're going to be using. It is a phenomenal book that talks about engaging all types of students in higher education. The next book is The College Students of the United States by Ren and Reason, and we're going to be using this book for about half of it. And this book provides some good insight into who the college students are today. And then also your suggested text is the Student Development in College book. So what assignments are you going to be doing? All right, well we have a good bit of assignments, but I have some great news for you. There's no literature review. There's no literature research heavy paper. So I thought you all would enjoy that. This is going to be a predominantly experiential class and reflecting. So the first thing you're going to be doing is an autobiography reflection. I want you to be creative with this, and I want you to think about who you were as an undergraduate student. What did you identify as, and how did that affect or play into you during your undergraduate career? Read the syllabus for all the specific information, but I want you to be creative with this. I want you to do a video or a digital narrative, a photo slideshow with voiceover, music. You can, if you do a PowerPoint, make it so it's not just slides, but that it's an actual movie of some sort. I want this to be a reflection of you and who you are. Some areas to consider is what did it mean to identify as X to you during undergraduate? How did identifying as X evolve during your undergraduate career? And then what privileges and or challenges did you have because you were perceived to be X? Now that's just a guideline. You can expand on that. There's no maximum length for this. But I suspect this wouldn't be any shorter than about 10 minutes. So keep that in mind, but this is to be a representation and expression of you, your identity during your undergraduate career, and how you interpret it. And you're going to be thinking about this as you're meeting with students and you're reading about subcultures and you're engaging with different populations. So the next assignment is the book review presentation. I've already sent all of you an email about this. We have 7 groups, and each group is responsible for a specific book. Now, these are going to be due throughout the semester, so make sure you're aware of when your book is due, because it's due on a specific date by 5 p.m. That's different from all the other assignments where if a time is not specified, it is due by 11:59 p.m. on the date. This assignment is to mimic a presentation that you would do at a conference. It's to be 20 minutes, and it's going to be presented to the class in a discussion thread. And all the specifics on how you're going to submit it are in the syllabus. I won't review that here for you. But the goal of this project is to help the class learn more about the book and how it can be helpful to them in their professional lives. The format and how you want to present this is completely up to you. The only exception is that this is not to be a chapter by chapter review. If we wanted that, we could easily read the book. I want you to review the main messages that are communicated in the book. What did you get from this book, and how does it help you in your professional lives, and how can we use it to help us, and how did it inform you about something, about a specific topic? So what did you take away? How is it helpful? What do other students need to know? And a big thing about this is everybody needs to be involved. So all 3 parties, all 3 people need to be a part of the presentation. That's very important. So review the syllabus on how you're going to post it, and then a part of this assignment are discussion posts, and you all are to lead a discussion via the discussion board on this. So after you post your presentation, you're also going to need to post some discussion questions, and then the class is required to respond to the discussion questions, which are part of the grade. And hopefully we can get a good idea and have a good conversation about the book. Now the minimum response is 1, but that's just the minimum. If you really want to get out of this class, I recommend that you do more than 1. And for your official post, it's just like our other class. It's a minimum of 100 words. But any post you do after that, if you're following up to something, can be less than 100 words. But I want your initial response to be at least 100 words. So on a side note, these books were randomly assigned and the groups were assigned by CourseDem. So I am not responsible for that. Now, the next assignment are journal reflections. You're going to be doing 3 journal reflections, and you're actually going to be going out and finding 3 different students that identify with a subculture that you do not identify with. That goes back to our autobiography reflection. All right, so for me, during undergrad, I identified as a first-generation, low-income, heterosexual white male. So for me, when I'm doing my journal reflections, I'm going to stay away from a first-generation, low-income, heterosexual white male student. I'm going to want to talk to somebody that's outside of that, whether it's a veteran student, somebody that identifies as LGBT, a minority, or somebody of a different race or ethnicity than me. And you're to do 3 of these. You get to choose the subcultures you want to do. And we have 3 reflections that are due. One's due on the 22nd, one's due on the 29th, and one is due on the 17th. And these, there's no minimum page length. This is really onto you and how much you want to put into the assignment. Now obviously if I get something that's a one-liner, that's going to be problematic, but I really want you to reflect on the conversation that you have with these students. And remember, these students aren't talking for an entire population. They are talking specifically about their experience, so make sure you keep that in mind. I'll provide you with some general prompt questions in the assignment, and if you want to ask follow-up questions, that's fantastic. So the next assignment is the College Student Diverse Populations paper. All right, like I said, there's no literature review. So what this paper is, it's a compilation and a reflection on your journal reflections. Yeah, you're reflecting on your reflections, but you're injecting the theory on how and where these students currently are based on their undergraduate experience and how their identity plays into that. All right, so this is going to be very thought-provoking. You need to use at least 3 different theories, and Tinto and Aston do not apply, all right, because this is the lens that we're looking through the entire course. So you need to have 3 different theories, typically 1 for each student. If you want to add additional theories in, by all means. If you want to add multiple theories into 1 student, that's fine. But I want you to look at how different these students are, how they identify, what are their identities, what's their undergraduate experience, and kind of bring all of that together. Obviously, it all needs to be in APA. When you use theories, they need to be referenced and cited. You need to have a cited reference page. And then your final assignment are the discussion posts. As I mentioned, you have the discussion posts for the book review presentation. And what I forgot to mention is that you're required to respond to at least 5. If you want to respond to a 6th one, then you will receive 1 point extra credit. And then the other discussion post is for the autobiography reflection, and you are to respond to at least 5 of your classmates in their autobiography reflection. Same rules apply. If you do your initial posting, that has to be at least 100 words, but if you'd like to respond to others of your classmates, by all means do that, but as long as one of your posts is at least 100 words, you are covered. And there's no extra credit for the autobiography reflection. That's just a flat 5 points, 1 for 5 responses. All right, so the modes of instruction. So I'm going to be using videos similar to this. You're going to have readings that you're going to be responsible for, and we're not going to have reading quizzes. We're not, you know what, to be quite honest, if you don't read, I will never know. But you won't get anything out of this class. And the readings actually are going to be short. I've scaled back on the readings, and they're actually going to be very interesting and very informative. So I encourage you to really read the content. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn outside of reading your book. I'll know if you didn't read that, but I won't necessarily know the individual week. So I'm in graduate school, and I trust that you will do the reading as you need to. But again, this is your education, and you take it as you will. Next is the reflection papers. So that, like I said, this is going to be an experiential and a reflective class. So a lot of the reflecting that you're doing is going to help you make sense of everything that you're learning. And then the other piece are the assignments, and I tried to be very intentional with the assignments in terms of being creative, not a lot of heavy research work because you get enough of that. Then I wanted to make this a fun class, and I know some of you might be thinking, well, what if I don't have access to students? All of you are working on a college campus. There are summer sessions. You should be able to find a student that identifies with a culture that you do not. It may be a struggle, it may not be easy, but you should be able to do it. And then the other post, or the other mode of instruction, are discussion posts. So I'm going to briefly go through the policies. Academic honesty, this is something I'm very serious about. Anything you submit should be your own work. If you submit something that is plagiarized, I will follow the institutional policies and procedures. In each case, will be treated on a case-by-case basis. Please refer to the syllabus on the specifics of that. Your attendance, this is an online class. The attendance is gauged based on engagement, discussion posts, completing assignments. I do check course to see how often you're checking into the course, and I'll check in if you haven't. I'll check with you if you haven't been involved with the class for a while, just to make sure everything is okay. If you have a disability, please provide me the paperwork from the Office of Disabilities. Late work, I won't accept anything past 3 days. The discussion posts are the only exception to this. Once they close, they close. There's no late options for discussion posts. If you submit something 3 days within the 3-day spans after the deadline, it's 25% off the post grading. So if the assignment's worth 20 points, you get 15. It's 25% of 20 minus the 15. Okay, I have a little worksheet on how that works on in the syllabus. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Quality of work. Now I stick to a rubric. However, I do reserve the right that if the quality of work is so subpar, I will go outside of the rubric and assign a lower grade. This is graduate level school. I expect graduate level work. TK20, make sure you submit the college student diverse populations paper into TK20. As remember when we talked about academic orientation, if you don't do that, it is considered not completing the course and you will receive a failing grade for the class. So make sure you upload that into TK20. And last piece of advice, this is a summer class. We are going to be flying. I'm going to try and make my videos very short so you can focus on the reading and the engagement with the students. But keep up with the reading, keep up with the material, check into CourseDen daily, even if it's just for a minute, stay connected. Also, cut yourself out a 3-hour block at some point during the week, just like you're going to class, and give yourself those 3 hours to either do the reading, watch the videos, write something, or something for this class, so that way you're constantly staying engaged, because it's very easy to forget that you have an online class. Here's my contact information. You can get me via email. You can also get me CourseDen email. If it's something that's very, very urgent, send it to me over my Wesca email. There's my office phone. If you want to meet, we can do GoToMeeting or Skype, both upon request. And that is it. So if you let me know if you have any questions.